We're live. Sir, we are live. Bigger and blacker than ever. Well, I'm bigger anyway, though. What's going on, bro?
Yo. Getting it in tonight real quick.
Yes, sir.
With a shorter episode tonight. Two of our big topics. Obviously, if you see the title and the description of the page, and you already know what it is we're going to be talking about tonight. And that's the new Nintendo Switch OLED. I'm talking about One Piece Chapter 10, 18. Getting a little bit more insight into who was talking about the previous chapter about why he got locked up in jail and who this mysterious Sun God Nika character is. That's how the series, but obviously starting off first with the Nintendo Switch LED or OLED screen. Kind of some of the issues people are having with it. For starters, go ahead.
And just so you guys know, it's funny because both of us have a very different perspective on it. So it's going to be an exciting conversation and really just a great way for us to spread the news. But what's the first topic, brother? What's the first one?
It said it's going to be that the Nintendo Switch, obviously, as you just brought up, the whole. Because kind of how I feel about it is, I'm not saying it's a bad move. But it's kind of a weird move to me. It's one of those moves where it's kind of like, I understand. Obviously, you're not going to be coming out with something super huge midway through a console lifespan. No one does. Even with the PlayStation 4 Pro. It ran a little smoother. It had less loading times, but it wasn't drastically different than the regular PlayStation. And I know there were rumors out, there was speculation. You even had certain developers, talking about how they were excited about, the bigger screen. And some developers did mention faster processing time. A few developers did mention 4K 60. You even have Bloomberg talking about 4K 60. You had what's his name who used to be at Kotaku, who is now at Bloomberg, a very great source. Yeah, exactly. Source, and seemingly they were all wrong. On this one issue, and it's like it's kind of wild to me how one, they were wrong, which, as I've always said, we always take rumors with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But to me, it is kind of like, okay, it's only $50 more than the original Switch, so that's not too bad. But it's kind of like, okay, you've added an Ethernet port, which is cool. I'm not gonna downplay that. We know it runs on handheld on dock mode now. It's going to run at 1080p. I know the original Switch only runs at 780 on handheld. It runs 480, I believe, in handheld mode. The original one on docked is 780. But the processors the same. The chips are the same, custom chips. And so this is kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird. I thought we were doing something, a little different. But again, I understand that you don't want to, because obviously if they upgrade too far, then you're going to have to create two different SKUs for all of your software.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a regular new Breath of the Wild SKU, and then a updated 4K 60 Breath of the Wild SKU.
Yeah. If
you did differentiate the two. And that's just something that I don't believe, we as players don't want to go through, and obviously Nintendo as the game system maker and developer doesn't want to have to put out two different SKUs for a game, because Sony doesn't have to with the PlayStation 5. I mean, some games are PlayStation 5 version, some are PlayStation 4 version, but for the most part, for instance, if you got Miles Morales, it was pretty much the same game. Because they eventually let you update or upgrade your PlayStation 4 version to the PlayStation 5 version. Even Resident Evil 8 Village, if you got a PlayStation 4 version, you get a free PlayStation 5 upgrade. So, but it's different because the Switch, as we all know, uses those flashcards.
Yeah.
They don't use disc.
Yeah.
So they would have to create 2 different SKUs, maybe 2 different price points, and maybe that was just too much for them to have to deal with. And so maybe that's why we're getting what we're getting right now.
Like, man, my heart is torn on the subject because I agree with you 100%. Like, we were told, hey, Nintendo's coming out with this, the real version of it. And basically, we've been told that from day one because developers had seen the power of the Nintendo Switch, and they weren't quite sold in the very beginning. And the reason why many of them weren't sold, in all honesty, was because the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4 was still significantly of a higher quality than the Nintendo Switch. Granted, nobody has really pushed the Nintendo Switch to its full potential, but the Nintendo came out with the Wii U, and the Wii U had a significantly lower grade of technology than the PlayStation. Really had just right at the PlayStation 4. Basically, it wasn't really that significantly behind it, but it was still like right at PlayStation 4 status in terms of technology. Nintendo Wii U.
Yeah, it was basically above 3, but obviously it used the HD9 or DVD9 disc. It didn't use obviously a Blu-ray drive is always going to be more powerful than anything else. So
because just the storage capacity, right?
Exactly. So
they can compress more, they can do more with the data, and so on and so forth. But the problem with Nintendo was that they were like, we're not going to use Sony's technology within us because they feel like they will be giving Sony, they had to cut them a check for the royalties and the rights, which, if you're thinking business-wise and how to crush your competition, that's the best way. Not use a sword that's meant to cut your own throat. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, honestly, from a business standpoint. But Nintendo has always been resistant to just doing what everybody else does. They do their own thing. They're artists. They're craftsmen. That's exactly what they do. And so when the Nintendo Switch came out, everybody was already talking about, it's significantly lower than the PlayStation 4. So then what are they going to do with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X?
Yes, that's the Series X.
When the Series X comes out, what are they going to do? And so they always had this contention that, okay, Nintendo's eventually going to upgrade it. Fast forward to now. The Nintendo Switch has sold 80 million copies since 2017. That makes it the hottest selling console, bar none. It's not even close.
Almost of all time, because not even the PlayStation 2 was moving units this fast. By the time the PlayStation 2 ended, some people say that they had 200 million consoles out there. None of the NPD charts
have ever shown that
backed up that claim. I believe the most that it sold was like right around 125, 130 million.
Yeah,
because actually the 3DS has the most consoles out there, which is 161 million consoles. So
the Nintendo DS was printing money, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was funny back then. A little bit.
Money.
It prints money. But that's what they were doing. What ended up happening, on the other hand, in my honest opinion, is that Nintendo had realized they're at a crossroads because they want to give fans something better.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but the technology for the Switch had met a certain price point where it was favorable. $50 more for an upgraded screen, perfect. However, it's 4 years into this console. Do you want it to stop making money? No. So what they did was they decided not to pull a Sega with the 32X. They decided not to pull a Vim with a Nintendo 3DS. Where they were like, hey, we got this DS and it's kicking all types of behind. Let's release the 3D version of it. Or how about the Game Boy Advance Mini, Pocket, or whatever they had. They elected not to take that path. So my brother and I, we were talking about it earlier, and it was really like, I love discussions like those. We're both kind of passionate about it. But I was pointing out to him that, like, if you pay attention, the argument that Sony and Microsoft are having, and I personally think that's why because Microsoft was kind of given the inference at one point in time, we're open to sending our franchises elsewhere.
Yeah, they were.
And now all of a sudden they're like, no, rescind that.
Yeah, that was like Cuphead ended up on the Switch. Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisp have ended up on the Switch among other platforms as well. Because going along with what he said, some of our conversation revolved around, because the PlayStation 5, it's selling. It's sold out pretty much everywhere, unless you're willing to pay marked up prices, for bundles at GameStop, Walmart, and the like. Unless you're willing to buy from a scalper who might just sell you a box, buy at your own peril. But one of the things we were talking about was that the fact that the PlayStation 5 only has 2 exclusive titles on the platform that you can't get anywhere else, which is Returnal and Ratchet and Clank, A Rift in Time or A Rift Apart.
Yeah.
And is like so what are the software sales going to look like for both of those games? Because right now, currently the PlayStation 5, last time I saw, was 7 million in less than a year, which is impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Again, the reason why they're able to get away with having a console like that out right now is because all of the games, except for the 2 I just mentioned, you can still purchase on PlayStation 4. Scarlet Nexus just launched last month on the 25th.
Yeah,
and you could purchase that on the PlayStation 4. You could purchase it on the Xbox One. And both of those upgraded systems, the 5 and the Series X, are backward compatible directly with their last generation counterpart. So it's like you're really not missing out on anything, because there's no new games out.
And there's no telling what type of incentives Sony is actually kicking to the developers for doing an upgraded version of the exact same game.
Yeah, because for instance, Cyberpunk came out last October, and Destiny 2, for instance, right? When PlayStation 5 came out, within like 3 weeks of the 5 being out, you could upgrade Destiny 2 to play like it would run on the PC. Only difference is that you can't play uncapped. On PC, you can play with uncapped frames. On the PlayStation 5, it's going to only run at 60 frames, and Crucible, it only runs at 120, and then that's it. But you're seeing a game like Cyberpunk. It won't be like they're hoping to get its PlayStation 5 upgrade out by the end of this year, hoping to get it out. And so, to what he just said, Sony might be paying them to like, hey, go on and boost that up, because we do know Sony has had Bungie on their when they used to go to E3, they have let Bungie premiere videos and debuts for like DLC on their Sony stage. So they do have some type of partnership there going on. That for a number of years, Destiny would release year-long content exclusively to the PlayStation console. When they were with Activision, and now that has gone away because now they are a independent studio. But that was going on at that time. And so it's because the Switch is a different animal. It was kind of like with what we have said, since they don't have a disc and they support a flash drive. The PlayStation and the Xbox can get away with still selling a PlayStation 4 copy because it works on the 5, but the Switch, if you're going with a whole new upgraded 4K 60 Switch, it wouldn't be able, it probably could still dip back and play those old games, because obviously Nintendo has done that before with the 3DS, playing Game Boy Advance games, playing regular DS games, and games of that nature. The Wii U played Wii games on it. and so it can be done, but you don't know how much investing they would have to do if they did come out with a 4K 60 Nintendo Switch Pro, and you're having to develop two different versions of Zelda, because we know, for instance, Guerrilla Games is basically making two different versions of Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
One version that is not going to take advantage of its SSD in the PlayStation 5, and a version that is going to take advantage of it. There's going to be different sound upgrades on the 5 than the 4 is not going to have.
Yeah.
And that sounds like, oh, that's just a
minor.
No, that's probably major, because again, CD Projekt Red is hoping to get out the PlayStation 5 upgrade version and Series X upgrade version of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Hoping to get it out. Bungie got out Destiny's upgrade the same year the PlayStation 5 launched. Within the same month frame that the PlayStation 5 launched, they had the PlayStation 5 upgrade ready. So, it's not as easy as some of us think, all you have to do is hit copy paste. No, guys, there's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more coding, math.
Learn the code.
Exactly, learn the code. A lot more different math that actually probably goes into this whole thing. So I don't want to just shortchange it. Oh, well, all you have to do. No, there's a lot more than what you just have to do.
Yeah.
And so hopefully with the Switch OLED, I'm hoping that they can, do their best to sell it to obviously sell it for themselves. It is a Nintendo Switch. I mean, it is a Nintendo brand, aka Nintendo product. I'm always pulling for them because they are like pretty much the last bastion of an independent console maker out there. I'm hoping that this is a great step for them. I believe it's going to sell well, especially if they come out with a Metroid Dread bundle, which seems like they are.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be coming, because that was the first game that they literally showed running on it. Was Metroid Dread, or Metroid 5, if you will. So definitely hoping that they can do some great things with it.
I personally predict, I don't look at it as defeat, because I know some people are going to be like, so Nintendo got us all up with all this excitement, and then they just dissipate like they always do. I know that's going to be the sentiment of a lot of people. I want to tell you to calm down. Mm-hmm. This is actually good news, because you know what that means. Nintendo Switch has been around since 2017, guys. It is 2021. Next year will be the 5th year. Mm-hmm. Nintendo does not do like Sony or even some of these other developers. Well, just Sony, period. They're the only ones who are really doing it. Nintendo don't believe in staying with the console for 7-8 years.
Yeah.
They don't. If you pay attention, the Nintendo Wii U came out in 2000, or the Wii came out in 2000, what was it? 6 came out in 2006, right? They dropped the Wii U in 2013?
I believe so. It's 2012, 2013.
2012, that's 6 years. After the Wii U didn't do that well, because it was only out for like 3 years, essentially, they released the Nintendo Switch. Mm-hmm. So that means in 2 years, I predict, within 2 years, Nintendo's going to be talking about a new console. Between this time and the next time, I believe Nintendo's going to push the Switch as far as it can go. And what's going to happen is we're going to see some masterpieces. Like, I believe this next Zelda is going to be absolutely enthralling. I believe the next Mario game is going to be off the hook. I believe all of these games coming up for the next 2 to 3 years are going to be pushing the Nintendo to the very limit. Nintendo Switch to the very limit. But I think at that time, all these different things and all this different reaction, because there was too much. There was too much.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was talking about it. Like, when you get Bloomberg.
Yeah, exactly. You have
pause.
Bloomberg,
calmly think of that.
Exactly. You've had, very respected, places talking about, the 4K 60 Switch.
What was it? The Journal was talking about it too?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It was, what's his name? He used to work at Kotaku. I forget his name. I'm blanking on his name, but he's a guy who breaks every story, breaks every scandal. He was talking about that there was going to be a 4K 60 Switch. So like for him to seemingly have got it wrong right now It's like
a guy who has a perfect record.
Exactly. It's kind of like, okay, wow, maybe it is wrong. Maybe they didn't actually have it. Who knows? But again,
they had it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they do have it. They're probably just seeing that they don't really need to, because really Nintendo doesn't really need to release anything. People still want it. People are still clamoring for it. It's still very hard to find, even when they get it on shelves. I've seen stores like Target restock it, and then within the same day, it's completely gone. It was out of there. We saw Animal Crossing sell 30+ million last year when it first came out.
Man,
people are buying games for like the system.
I was running at a Target and I slipped, I fell, and I hit my head against the concrete. All because I was running to try to get a Nintendo Switch for my sister-in-law. Like, y'all don't understand. I've seen the storylines. A Nintendo Switch, by the way, that have been released since 2017. Let's put things in perspective. So just like you're saying, I feel like it points toward Nintendo already like, so are we here yet? Like when you're talking about 4K and 60 frames per second, and then you consider Nintendo is putting on the HD versions of these games, such as Legend of Zelda, the Skyward Sword,
to run at 60 frames per second.
I mean, I'll be honest with y'all. Like, I know they want to do that. I'm kind of like, Nintendo, please give me Wind Waker. Yes, the Wind Waker version. Just give me Wind Waker. I know you released it on the Wii U, but the Wii U was boo-boo, okay? Yeah. Listen. Bring it to me on the Switch, and then make the next Switch backward compatible, so I can continue the love. It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that that the next Switch is going to be absolutely amazing. But I think that a lot of us, we got to calm down because it's coming. It's just it ain't here yet.
Exactly. I actually want to see, can we cut the episode short tonight? I actually have some personal stuff I got to take care of.
Oh, okay.
Real quick.
Okay, is this the end of it then?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. We'll record a video for like One Piece because I actually want to see if we can move kind of toward streaming on the weekend and then doing uploads throughout the week. So that way we actually still have a steady stream of content. Plus, it's just he and I at the house right now. Everybody else is out on vacation, so
it's quiet.
Yeah, exactly. It's super quiet, and we're actually able to go ahead and focus. So
you don't hear kids randomly
exactly out the house, the door randomly opening up, or things of that nature. So for sure, we're gonna cut it short tonight, but we'll be back with our One Piece talk tomorrow night.
Absolutely,
as an upload. So see you guys soon.
All right, later, guys. What happened?